Kelly, and she's got to sit there, and she's got a real gruff voice, and she's on the sofa, and she does a Sharon Stone. Like every time she turns her legs, she gives a massive shot of this very hairy bush, and then she'll go, "Oh, did you see my growler?" Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That's Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy. I dreamt about you last night. I fell out of bed twice. You can pin and mount me like a butterfly. More on that later. Good old Stephen. So we have a track to listen to. Andy, what have you got for us?
Well, earlier in the week, I had you revisit Beach Goons, which found us on Audiotree, listening to a band in Southern California. So I thought, let's just stick with this motif here. So we've got another Audiotree performance from another Southern California band. This time, it comes in the form of the Growlers and their track "Feelin' Good." So, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the Growlers and this track slash studio performance. Um, Also, like full transparency, it's got a little bit of a similar beach vibe that or surf vibe that we got from Beach Goons. I We did the butter tones in the last 6 months or so. Um, and the one of our listeners, Bob Page, dropped down in there. Oh, this reminds me a lot of Beach Goth. And I thought, oh, Beach Goth. Well, if you're going to drop Beach Goth, there's only one band we can really do. So that is the Growlers in a nutshell as far as their sound and where they're from.
Beach goth?
Yeah,
What
Beach
the
Goth, right?
fucking hell? You're putting two random words that are actually pretty much opposite,
Yeah,
Yeah, you find all these people who dress up as vampires sitting on the fucking beach
yeah,
with their
yeah, yeah.
99 and a flake. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I think I've mentioned this to you before off camera, but one of my favorite bits from a stand-up comedian that I really like, Shane Gillis, talks about how he encountered a goth in Australia. He's like, you can't be Australian and goth at the same time. It's all these beautiful coastal towns and, sunshine and everything. And then, yeah, all black. So that's an odd pairing. I agree. But that is what their sound has been described as, the Growlers. So I'd be interested to hear what your take on their sound is. So please give this a go and let me know what you think, buddy.
Will do. Interesting. Wow. So much going on. I think this is like about the fifth time that I thought that the beginning was the jingle for Audiotree, and it wasn't. It was the song. So yeah, it's got a really interesting sound to it. Initial impressions. It's got a bit of that Doors feel to it, but mixed with a cartoon ghost. So it's eerie but not scary. It's got otherness to it. Really nice. Lovely sound from the bass as well. Drummers keeping everything in check nicely. That guitar was really nice. The bit that he sang there was just doing this, striking these chords over it. It just sounded lovely. It's got a really rich tone to it. Again, it kind of fits in with that sort of Dawsey type stuff. And then we get to the singer, who is definitely not the Lizard King. Um, he's got a great. Let's see if I can just. Yeah. Oh, let's put it back a little bit more. Oh, it's blurred. Here we are. Yeah, he's got, with that stripy shirt and the red braces, it looks like a day trader who's had a really, really tough day. And he's wandered into a karaoke bar and just cutting loose. Disheveled. Just really great. And there's a kind of pitched quality to his delivery as well. And it looks a little bit awkward, almost like he's full of allergies and he's reading the autocue as well. But I have to say, all of that just endears him to me even more. I really enjoy this. This is fantastic. It sounds a bit different, which is exactly what you want. Um, yeah, really, really. I know I caught some bits of what he said, but now I've started pulling back. We've only got about 40 seconds. I'm going to go back to the beginning again. So you want to catch the words. He doesn't just take a breath, does it, between bits? Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's right. And there's something about it sounds like it should, but it's life. Life has consequences for all our actions. And there's something about no one should suffer just for your satisfaction. It's really interesting because it sounds very reasonable. It's not accusing or no histrionics and no character assassinations, just saying, look, you go off and do this stuff and it's affecting other people. Really, the way he's delivering it as well. Yeah, it's really interesting. And there's lots of percussion going on in that as well. It's got a little texture to it. I'm liking this a lot. Cause Dino's so sad and you don't want to deal with that. The bender never ends, the feelings never say. It's better to pretend the comfort's in the tree. Just cause it feels good doesn't mean it's right. I know it sounds like it should, but that just isn't life. Life has consequences for all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction. Feeling good, but you've been stealing the feeling when you're feeling high. Somebody else is low. Feeling good, being led by your feelings, but your feelings can't think. I really don't know where to go. They'll never wake up, I'll never come down to do what you want and like what you do. If you never look back, you'll never come around. And what you tell yourself will turn into the truth. Just cause it feels good doesn't mean it's right. I know it sounds like it should, but that just isn't life. Life has consequences for all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction. Feeling good, but you've been stealing the feeling when you're feeling high. Somebody else is low. Yeah, this is repeated from before. It's like a bridgy type bit. That bit there sounds the most Doors of most like the Doors of any part of the song there. There's something about that sort of turn in the melody that's very Doors-esque. He just was that back.
For your satisfaction, feeling good, but you've been stealing the feeling when you feel it high. Somebody else's low. Feeling good, being led by your feelings, but your feelings can't think, so they don't know where to go. Just 'cause it feels good doesn't mean it's right. I know it sounds like it should, but that just isn't life. Life has consequences for all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction.
Another great live performance there. Yeah, that was really I found that really captivating. Um, he's clearly the singer has clearly got his own persona and his own voice. You certainly could pick that out of a lineup. And that's probably what I enjoyed the most about it. There was a bit of sort of oddness to it, which again just did me even more to it. But the overall sound was really interesting. Um, it was this blend of things, but with quite a bit of the Doors in there. But the approach as well to the song, from the lyrics I got, was it wasn't that sort of confrontational. But yeah, which again is refreshing and different. Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. I need to find out more about the Growlers. Um, let's go back and chop it up with Andy.
All right, you're back. Hopefully, you're feeling good. What did you think about that track by the Growlers, John?
I don't know where this goth bullshit comes from. None of that. But anyway, I did giggle a little bit. It was a sort of automatic response. You said the Growlers. Just as a side here. So there's a TV show which I may have referenced once or twice before called Bull Selector. Very British. Brainchild of a guy called Lee Francis. I happened to go to one of these screenings of I think it was his second series, and they get people into a room and they show the episode and they tape you laughing to that so it's a genuine laughter track. And it was very weird because it was the end of the second series, I think, or maybe the third. It was at Channel 4. I got 2 tickets with my mate to go along. They're free, you can just be an audience member. But for some reason, because it was the last one, he'd invited basically most of the cast, the crew that worked on the series. They were the audience, and there was only about 4 real general public, no mate being 2 of them. So it was very intimate. There was about 50 people, if that, and there's chairs and a big screen. Jimmy Carr came on and did a warm up, and he stood about 2 foot away from me. They laid on a spread, loads of free booze and food as well, because it was mostly the crew. Really, really nice evening. Met Lee Francis at the time. My phone, the camera on it was absolutely fucking terrible, so I didn't get a selfie with him or whatever. Really nice guy. He's about 5'4", from Leeds. But yeah, really nice. But anyway, within that, Bo Selector, you do these really bad impressions of semi-famous or very famous people. And he had this sort of grotesque sort of rubber foam masks to make up their faces that were, if you squinted at them out of one bad eye, it kind of looked like something like the Michael Jackson one was hilarious. He had a red headband, and and it all be completely different accent. It wouldn't be true to the character. So you had scary spies going, ooh, like that. Really, they're talking like an old woman from Barnsley or something. Yeah. And there's a lady on the TV every morning called Lorraine Kelly, and she's a very nice Scottish middle-aged lady, and she does all these sort of magazine pieces about, women's flushes and all that sort of stuff, and she's very well loved. Anyway, Lee Francis is the version of Bo Selector of Lorraine Kelly, and she's kind of sitting there, and she's got a real gruff voice, and she's on the sofa, and she does a Sharon Stone. Like every time she turns her legs, she gives a massive shot of this very hairy bush, and then she'll go, "Oh, did you see my growler?" And as soon as I heard the word the growlers, it just made me think of that.
That's what you were
And,
thinking of,
yeah,
huh?
so that's why I was laughing. Nothing to do with the band or this song, but I had to share. So you've got that image now. So
Thank you.
the video starts, and not for the first time, probably about the fifth time, I'm thinking the opening notes are part of the Audiotree jingle, and it takes me about 3 seconds to realise it
They
isn't.
get you every time with that, don't they?
Yeah. So we get these jangly, off-kilter keyboard bits, supplemented with a guitar whose tone is so rich it could be Christmas cake. In comes the bass and the drums, and I'm getting the Doors vibes big time. It's like Ray Manzarek's wonderful keyboards are being haunted by a cartoon ghost. It sounds wonderful and wrong at the same time. It's not scary. It's just a wee bit eerie. Then the singer begins his particular brand of crooning. Initial thoughts. He is not the Lizard King. It's an understatement of the year. He's more like Jeff, who's had a bad day on the trading floor, and so he's cutting loose with some karaoke at the Peppermint Lounge, and with his stripy shirt and his red braces. And what's even funny about it, it looks really dishevelled. He even looks like he's reading from an auto cue. I don't know if he is or he isn't. There's a slightly sort of pinched tone of somebody who probably suffers from more than their fair share of allergies. And again, the phrase off kilter is really ringing in my head.
Yeah.
There is a kind of indefinable otherness to the sound and to the singer. And to be fair, it sounds like I'm taking the piss, and I may be a little bit, but he absolutely fascinated and captivated me and made it really endearing. I loved him from the start. Poor old Jeff. And he opens, I had to bring it back and do it again. So he opens with, I think it's right, something about you bang other chicks and sometimes hide it. And then more pertinent, I don't know what that's about, some jibe. But you take anything if you don't have to buy it, which I think is a really interesting line. And again, instantly, I'm thinking that he's aiming this at someone in particular. Can't think who. But, and it probably is from like 5 years ago or something, but it just seems quite pertinent. So rather than the life-affirming defiance of a song by the same name by Nina Simone, who I absolutely adore, excuse to whip out this one is just amazing, because it starts off with "I Put a Spell on You," her version, which is unfucking believable, and it's got some other great stuff in here as well. Ne m'écoutez pas, and One September Day, Lose on Purpose, all that. It's got Feeling Good on there with a full bow, 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 bow. Yeah, So, right, and she definitely had her own little brand of otherness as well. She wasn't mainstream or pigeonhole. This seems to be more about the selfish, hedonistic lifestyle of the subject and the effects of their actions. And then following shortly onwards, the chorus reveals this in a very reasonable tone. He says something about just because it feels good doesn't mean that it's right. And then I missed this line. So it sounds like it should in its life. It goes, life has consequences, all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction. And that was interesting, because then it just made me think, as he started going into the next bit, about the song Satisfaction. How actually, when you view it from a distance, it's a kind of agenda of self gratification. It's all about what I want,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't get this and I can't get that. I mean, at the time, that's not really what they were going at, but it's a reflection of that sort of attitude. And then you see the actions and attitudes of the members of that band a few decades on. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, during this call, I won't get drawn into that any more than I need to. But during this, there are some lovely sort of twangs from the guitar. And I have to say, up to this point, I thought that the bass and the guitarists were in witness protection the way they kept their anonymity through this video. You slowly got a couple of shots, but really, I think the guy who filmed this owes money to the drummer and the singer, and that's about it. I mean, there's one shot of the keyboardist without the fucking fish tattoos on his fingers, where you see his face and his cap, and he's got a guitar slung over him. Who knew? Just one little step. So that was interesting. But yeah, really nice tone of that guitar. And it's just those little sort of like accents through the chorus. Your man on the drums does a really nice, steady job. And then towards the end of this and in other bits as well, his percussion splashes sort of melt with some of the keyboard tinkerings in a really pleasing manner and gives all this sort of texture. It's really nice. One of the characteristics, which I sometimes are guilty of as well, is the singer doesn't take a fucking breath to continue into the next verse. It's just all one verse, which is kind of, we did recently, and you mentioned the Beach Goons, they would stop to check their fingernails or whatever before going on to the next section, whereas this guy is plowing, he's not breathing. Poor old Jeff. And on he goes. But he seems to be warming to his theme, and both his movement and his overall presence seem a touch loosened. I think this may be all in my mind because clearly they're in a band and he's done this a million times. But that's what I'm getting from my own narrative of watching this. I really enjoy the music. I say the way the percussion, the drums, and the bass sort of hold the line, which we've talked about a million times, with the guitars doing more and more accents, and it leaves the keyboard to wander around like a dizzy child in the playground. It's just really lovely, just doing his own stuff. It's great. After a second chorus, we get to like a bridgy type incident, and the spirit of the Doors kicks into overdrive. And there's a line where he goes, "When you're feeling high, somebody else is low," which is a great line. But it's that oblique shift in the melody that's really very Doors-esque, just that one line in particular. Again, without taking a breath, they flow to the next verse. It says something about if you never wake up, you'll never come down. Again, it's all very reasonable and sort of grown up in the approach and the delivery. There's no histrionics or character assassination. It's just, the tone of it is reasonable. Yeah. So we circle through another chorus and repeated bridge and a chorus again without the singer even pausing for breath. It's great. Finally, with the word satisfaction ringing in the air, he puts his mic back in his stand, and we get 20 more seconds of even more eerie noodling, particularly from the keyboards. And it sounds like the ringtone for a minor member of the Addams Family. And then finally we get to the end. Beautiful friend. And as we look around, we find that we're no longer in the Peppermint Lounge, but we're in the Whiskey A Go Go. Yeah, this is a really, really great performance that felt quite low key in the way that it was delivered, but I think actually it was just effortless. They seem a really, really drilled band that just flowed. I super enjoyed this. There was a lot of charisma to this as well.
For sure.
Big fan of the Doors. Big fan of Jeff now. Whatever his name is.
Wait till you find out his real name.
It'll always be Jeff to me. Jeff from accounting.
That's what it sounds like. You're really married to it. I almost don't want to burst your bubble. In fact, I might just lie. So I'm really glad you liked it. I'm glad that you picked up on the Doors influence in this. When you're making music in Southern California that's rock based, it's probably hard not to let a little bit of that, leak into your sound, that influence. I'm sure they came up listening to the Doors, so that completely checks out. But yeah, the Growlers. They're an American band from Southern California. They began their career in the Orange County city of Dana Point in 2006, and they're currently based in Costa Mesa. The band is currently composed of singer Brooks Nielsen. I hate to do that to you. And keyboardist slash guitarist Kyle Straka. They've released 7 albums, several EPs, and a number of singles. The band's sound has been described as a trademark style of music that somehow combines surf, pop, rock, and beat, which has all been labeled beach goth, a term that you instantly fell in love with. I could tell from the moment I said it. Singer Brooks Nielsen and music director guitarist Matt Taylor met in middle school in the beach town of Dana Point, California, bonding over surfing, skating, and partying, as one does when they're in their teens in Southern California. When offered the chance to perform at a house party, the duo quickly wrote their first 6 songs in a single day, leading to the first incarnation of the band that would eventually become the Growlers. After releasing a handful of self-recorded cassettes and CDs, the band issued their first studio album, Are You In or Out, in 2009 on Everloving Records. Critics described it as consistent in sound and tone, that is as enjoyable straight through or on shuffle. Taken as a whole, the record is a beautiful mix of late 60s freak out, folk calmness, and surf rock. Their second album, Hot Tropics, was released in 2010, also on Everloving Records. The band's third album, Hung at Heart, the first to feature Anthony Braun Perry on bass and Jason Kaiser on percussion, was released in 2013. The band originally worked with Dan Auerbach to record the album, but the finished version never saw official release. Instead, the band recorded a new version of the album in Costa Mesa, California, with Mike McHugh as at his distillery recording studio to get a more lo-fi sound. Chinese Fountain, their follow-up, more grown-up, well-polished album, was released September 23rd of 2014. And this album was produced by J.P. Plunier at Seahorse Studios in L.A. While touring for the album, the band expanded their live band with percussionist Nick Murray. The band's 5th studio album, City Club, was released by Cult Records on September 30th, 2016, while they embarked on a supporting tour in the same month. It was the first Growlers album to be created solely by Brooks Nielsen and Matt Taylor, as opposed to the whole band. Nielsen and Taylor wrote and recorded demos for the album over a span of 2 to 3 months with the help of Kyle Malarkey at his studio in Topanga Canyon, California. It was preceded by the title track as a single produced by Julian Casablancas, who also owns that label. Neither drummer Scott Montoya nor bass player Anthony Perry feature on the album. On September 25th, the band confirmed Montoya's departure from the band and stated that Perry was set to return in the near future. The band released Casual Acquaintances on July 27th of 2018, a collection of demos and unused material from the City Club sessions. The Growlers have toured with artists such as the Black Keys, Devendra Banhart, Julian Casablancas, Night Beats, and Jonathan Rickman. They have also appeared on numerous festivals, including Coachella, Bonnaroo, Primavera Sound, Lollapalooza, Austin City Limits, among several others. And speaking of festivals, the band has organized their annual, get ready, John, Beach Goth Festival since 2012. The event typically features performances by bands representing a variety of genres, including pop, rap, hip-hop, heavy metal, and rock. Over the years, the event has included costume contests, amusement park rides, and live performances of Rocky Horror Picture Show. The Growlers have headlined both Saturday and Sunday night of the annual Beach Goth Festival since its inception. The likes of Die Antwoord, Grimes, Gucci Mane, Julian Casablancas, Mac DeMarco. Are you familiar with Mac DeMarco, by the way?
Name rings a bell, and I can't think why.
Okay, because that's an artist I was thinking about bringing to the channel for a while, so I might just do that down the line. Also featured the drums, which we've covered on the channel before.
Yeah.
Foxygen, White Arrows, and Ghost BC have all appeared at this festival. Due to an ongoing lawsuit with Noise Group, owners of the observatory venue, over the Beach Goth trademark, 2017's festival took on the name the Growlers 6, which took place on October 28th and 29th at the LA waterfront. The festival included artists such as the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Modest Mouse, and Butthole Surfers. The Growlers returned to their trademarked Beach Goth brand name for the 7th annual festival, taking place at the LA Historic State Park on August 5th, 2018. Beach Goth 7 hosted performances by the Growlers, Jonathan Richman, the Voids, the Drums, La Luz, and Guar, of all people. The track that I had you check out today features on the band's 2013 EP, Gay Thoughts slash Uncle Sam's a Dick. Jaden Hawking of the UK online publication Silent Radio reviewed that EP and wrote the following. The songs are short and snappy. The band knows when not to push the boundaries of a tune too far. Some bands these days try too hard to achieve a certain sound, but the Growlers know when they have a good song on their hands and simply let it work the listener by itself. After a number of earlier releases and tours supporting bands such as the Black Lips, the Black Keys, Dr. Dog, Devendra Banhart, and Julian Casablancas, the Growlers have built up quite the cult following. There is nothing on this EP that screams of change, which is a good thing in my eyes. It is actually surprising how melodic the tracks become after a listen or two, and you become more aware of the fact that Brooks and Company have that rare talent of writing catchy tunes that never seem to lose their underground coolness. The band was covered in an article by NPR in which writers Raina Douris and John Myers wrote the following. Some bands feel like your own best kept secret. Take the Growlers. The California group got its start when asked to play a house party. For more than a decade since, the band's managed to keep that underground feeling, where every show feels like you're seeing something special, like you're part of an in-the-know community. The group's music blends lo-fi surf rock, garage rock, Americana, and psychedelic into something so unique its members needed to come up with their own genre for it, hence Beach Goth. But while the Growlers holds tight to its DIY ethos, the group's grown a dedicated fan base, including the likes of Dan Auerbach, Julian Casablancas, and Ellen DeGeneres. So, let's jump into these lyrics. You bang other chicks, sometimes you hide it. You take everything if you don't have to buy it. You have no age and pawns for friends. Do whatever it takes so it never has to end. Just 'cause it feels good doesn't mean it's right. I know it sounds like it should, but that just isn't life. Life and consequences for all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction. You think that love's a trap and dying young is rad. 'Cause dying old so sad. And you don't want to deal with that. The bender never ends. The feelings never sink. It's better to pretend the comfort's in the drink. Just 'cause it feels good doesn't mean it's right. I know it sounds like it should, but that just isn't life. Life has consequences for all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction. Feeling good, but you've been stealing the feeling when you're feeling high, somebody else is low. Feeling good, living by your feelings, but your feelings can't think. They don't know where to go. You'll never wake up or never come down to do what you want and like what you do. You'll never look back. You'll never come down. Then when you tell yourself will turn into your truth, just 'cause it feels good doesn't mean it's right. I know it sounds like it should, but that just isn't life. Life has consequences for all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction, but you've been stealing a feeling when you feeling high. Somebody else is low, feeling good, living by your feelings, but your feelings can't think. So they just don't know where to so they don't know where to go. Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's right. I know it sounds like it should, but that just isn't life. Life has consequences for all our actions. No one should suffer just for your satisfaction. Now, I don't know if this is like an indictment on himself or someone that he knows, but yes, it clearly sounds like someone with this sort of perverse kind of Peter Pan complex. You know what I mean? Like they never want to grow up and they always want to stay youthful and have fun and everything's a trip, even if it comes at the expense of others. Oftentimes, probably others who care about that individual, but to hell with them. Thus, burning bridges, trying to probably surrounding yourselves with young people because every 5 or 10 years, those last group of people graduate from your mindset. So you have to adopt a new, it's, God, what's the line? I keep getting older, but they keep staying the same age. It's kind of that mentality, this childlike mentality, until one day you wake up and realize, holy shit, I'm that old weirdo who never really progressed in life and kind of plateaued at 24 or whatever. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Really fucking love these guys' sound. And when I saw Bob comment Beach Goth, I knew that I had to bring these guys to the channel at some point. Silly name designation be damned. But yeah, go on, sir.
So from what you just said there, I instantly pictured Will Ferrell, old school.
Yes, yes. Or Will Ferrell's appearance in Wedding Crashers. If you've ever seen that film and they want to go to their Zen master who taught them the ways and he's living in his mom's basement eating her fucking meatloaf every night, living in a robe, Exactly. It's that character, sure. Absolutely. The observation. Yeah. So thanks for giving this thing a go. And I'm really, really glad that you enjoyed it as much as you did, John. Maybe we can check out some more Growlers.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you for giving this thing a go. Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you thought of Feeling Good by the Growlers. If there's other stuff by these guys that you're aware of and a fan of and that you think that John should check out, please feel free to drop those suggestions down in the comments field below, or any suggestion for that matter, or any thought for that matter. Just be kind. That's all we ask to one another and us, please. Also, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. We really do appreciate that. And hopefully John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.